What if I told you that one of the Bible's most dramatic prophecies, the war of Gog and Magog, might be unfolding before our eyes right now? Could the nations aligning against Israel today be the same ones predicted thousands of years ago in the Scriptures, as global tensions rise? Are we standing on the precipice of a massive prophetic event? Before we dive into this deep, let's take a moment to thank you all for following deep Bible stories and being part of this incredible community. Our channel is growing rapidly thanks to your support, and today we're tackling one of the most requested topics in the comments, the War of Gog and Magog. This video will delve into the biblical prophecy, current world events, and what it could all mean for the end times. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and like this video. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Are we living in the days of Gog and Magog? Now, let's jump into this mind-blowing prophecy, the War of Gog and Magog. Is it happening now? To truly understand the prophecy of Gog and Magog, we must first examine the Bible's two major references to these names, found in Ezekiel 3:8-39 and Revelation 20. The first and most detailed description comes from Ezekiel 3:8-39. In these chapters, God gives Ezekiel a vision of a future invasion of Israel by a coalition of nations, led by a mysterious figure named Gog from the land of Magog. Ezekiel prophesied that Gog, a military leader, would come from the far north to attack a peaceful and secure Israel. This event would occur in the latter days, a term often associated with the end times. In Revelation 28, Gog and Magog appear again, but this time at the end of the millennium, after Satan is released to deceive the nations one final time. These two prophecies appear at different points in time, one during the lead-up to Christ's return and one at the very end of the millennium, but they share a common theme. Gog and Magog represent a massive rebellion against God's people. Identifying Gog and Magog has been a subject of intense debate. Many scholars believe that Magog refers to a region north of Israel, often associated with the Scythians, a nomadic group that lived in modern-day Russia. The Jewish historian Josephus also linked Magog to the Scythians, further cementing the idea that this prophecy points to a northern nation. Gog, on the other hand, is often interpreted as the leader of this coalition of nations. He's described as a prince or ruler, likely a military commander who will lead an invasion against Israel. In Revelation 20, the names Gog and Magog take on more symbolic meanings, representing the nations of the earth that rise up in final rebellion against God. Ezekiel lists several nations that will be part of this invasion. Magog, likely linked to modern Russia. Persia, known today as Iran. Cush, associated with parts of modern Ethiopia and Sudan. Put, ancient Libya. Goma, some identify this with Turkey. Beth Togarmah, likely referring to the Caucasus region, which includes parts of Turkey and Armenia. These names may seem ancient, but many believe they point directly to modern nations involved in Middle Eastern geopolitics today. Are we witnessing the stage being set for this prophesied war? Many believe that today's geopolitical landscape, especially the alignments between Russia, Iran, Turkey, and their shared antagonism toward Israel, mirrors Ezekiel's prophecy of a northern coalition attacking Israel. Russia's increasing role. Russia's relationship with Israel has deteriorated significantly over the past few years. While Russia once maintained a neutral stance, it has grown more hostile, especially since Russia's involvement in Syria and its growing alliances with Iran and Turkey. Not to mention, Israel's natural gas pipeline to Europe threatens Russia's energy dominance in the region, increasing tension. Iran's ongoing hostility. Iran continues to be one of Israel's fiercest enemies, openly calling for its destruction. Iran has been building military outposts in Syria, just north of Israel, and supplying Hezbollah and other militant groups with weapons. Ezekiel's prophecy specifically mentions Persia, Iran, as one of the leading nations in the coalition that will invade Israel. Turkey's shifting allegiances. Under the leadership of President Erdogan, Turkey has distanced itself from its previous cooperation with Israel and has strengthened ties with Russia and Iran. Turkey, identified as Beth Togarmah in Ezekiel's prophecy, has taken a more active role in Middle Eastern conflicts, increasing its military presence in Syria and Libya, further aligning with the very nations that are prophesied to rise against Israel. In 1948, when Israel was reborn as a nation, many prophecy scholars saw this as the fulfillment of Ezekiel 37, the dry bones prophecy, where God brings Israel back from the dead. Since then, Israel has been at the center of global conflicts, particularly with Arab nations, and now with Iran, Russia, and Turkey, forming an alliance against it. Now let's go deeper into the dynamics of the Gog and Magog war, and how biblical prophecy could be playing out in today's world. In Ezekiel 37, God promises to bring the Jewish people back to their land and restore them as a nation. This was fulfilled in 1948 when Israel became a nation again after nearly 2,000 years of dispersion. According to prophecy scholars, Israel's rebirth is one of the key end times markers, an event that had to happen before other prophecies, like the Gog and Magog war, could be fulfilled. Ezekiel 3810:12 describes a time when Gog, the leader of this northern alliance, will devise an evil plan to invade Israel. This invasion is described as sudden and overwhelming, an army so vast that it will cover the land like a storm. Israel, confident in its security, will seem vulnerable. But here's the twist. This war will not be Israel's to fight. The Bible tells us that God Himself will intervene in a powerful and supernatural way. In Ezekiel 38:1-8-23, God promises that when Gog's forces attack Israel, He will unleash a massive earthquake, plagues, hailstones, fire, and sulfur on the invading armies. The natural world itself will rise against the aggressors. The armies of Gog will turn on one another in confusion, and only a small remnant will survive. The destruction will be so complete that Ezekiel says it will take 7 months for Israel to bury all the dead. This massive display of divine power serves a dual purpose: to protect Israel and to demonstrate to the world that God is the defender of His people. Ezekiel 39:6-7 says, "I will send fire on Magog, and I will make known my holy name among my people Israel. I will no longer let my holy name be profaned." So, what could lead up to this massive invasion? The Bible doesn't give us an exact timeline, but let's look at current events that could be precursors to this war. One possible trigger for this war is Israel's newfound natural resources. The discovery of vast natural gas reserves in the Mediterranean Sea has turned Israel into a potential energy powerhouse. With Russia and Turkey heavily invested in dominating energy markets, Israel's growing influence threatens their economic interests. Some scholars believe that Russia's motivation for invading Israel could be driven by these economic factors seeking to control the region's resources. The growing alliance between Russia, Iran, and Turkey, all nations mentioned in Ezekiel's prophecy, is troubling for Israel. While these nations have their own internal tensions, they are united in their opposition to Israel. Any significant conflict between these powers and Israel could spark the Gog and Magog war. For instance, Iran has continually threatened Israel's existence. In recent years, the Iranian military has moved closer to Israel's borders through its involvement in Syria, establishing bases and deploying advanced weapons systems. Meanwhile, Russia has maintained a strong military presence in Syria, working alongside Iran and at times Turkey. Could the Gog and Magog war happen before the rapture of the church? Some theologians believe that the rapture, where believers are taken to heaven before the Great Tribulation, may coincide with or precede the Gog and Magog war. This war could be the catalyst for the rise of the Antichrist, who will broker a false peace with Israel, only to betray them later. In addition to the geopolitical developments, there are several signs of the times that align with biblical prophecy. In the book of Revelation, the Bible tells us that the events of the last days will be witnessed by the whole world. In the past, this would have seemed impossible, but today, with global technology, the prophecy can be fulfilled. Smartphones, social media, and satellite broadcasting allow real-time coverage of major events. When Christ returns, or when Gog's invasion takes place, the entire world will be able to witness it simultaneously. The book of Revelation also speaks of a future where the Antichrist will control the global economy and enforce the mark of the beast. Revelation 13, 1-6-17. We're already seeing a move toward a cashless society and digital currencies, indicators that the infrastructure for a centralized economic system is falling into place. As we examine the Bible's prophecies and today's events, it becomes clear that the stage is being set for Gog and Magog. Israel is back in its land, surrounded by enemies, and global events are converging in ways that echo the ancient prophecies. Israel's rebirth and its role in global conflict is central to biblical prophecy. Zechariah 12:3 tells us that Jerusalem will become a burdensome stone for all nations, and those who try to lift it will be injured. As more nations turn their focus on Israel, this prophecy seems more relevant than ever. In conclusion, the Gog and Magog war may be much closer than we realize. As believers, it's critical to stay vigilant and spiritually prepared. Though we don't know the exact timing, the Bible makes it clear that these events will unfold according to God's plan, and Christ's victory is certain. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe for more insights on end times prophecy. Let us know in the comments. Do you think we're seeing the prophecy of Gog and Magog come to life? Don't forget to check out our other videos on end times and prophetic events. The links are in the description below. Stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next video.